Is it hard being real, Tooba Khan?
This Botox, fillers, eyelash extensions, there's no limit. Being real is so much more easier than, just not being real.
How should I tell that?
It's a very tricky situation. That was one of the reasons I actually did not make a lot of content. Blogging is something that it's very it's not constant. It's always fluctuating. I did not know this. I learned it with time. You're married and then you start living with your in-laws. How am I supposed to do this? But what am I doing? You need to find the right...
If the podcast is really real, Tooba Khan is no less real. I am so honored to welcome her on this podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to be here.
No, it's my absolute pleasure. So Tooba and I met kitne saal ho gaye?
It's been a while.
5 years?
I think so.
On ARY's morning show.
Yeah.
And we both were guests.
And then we hit it off.
And we hit it off.
Yeah.
And then we had the same car that dropped us back.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about IVA.
Yeah, and then you were telling me you did counseling and everything. Yeah. And I was like, oh wow, that's so interesting.
And you had started your Instagram page.
Yes, I did.
And we followed each other.
Yeah.
And Tooba, over the last few years, even then, when I think of blogging, right? And I think एक preconceived notion होता है blogging लोगों को लगता है एक filter है किसी की life में.
Yeah.
You don't really get to see the real life, एक curated version है. You've broken that stereotype, बल्कि you made it cool to be really real. So tell me more, ये कैसे हुआ?
Thank you that you feel that way. When I started blogging, I did not even know about that there are blogs that exist or people are doing that. I simply started the page because I was traveling with my mother and I was like, I'll just document my outfits.
Okay.
And when you're in high school, you don't have so much money to buy branded stuff because you're living on your parents' pocket money.
And there's always a budget.
There's always a budget. So,
yeah.
I used to find local things, when my mom used to take me to the bazaars, I'd find local cute bags or accessories or whatever. And I used to style them and then I used to post about them. So my friends would get really fascinated and really like the style. So they would follow me and then it just spread through word of mouth. And people really liked it. And then I liked it because they were liking it. So I was like, okay, this is something cool. This is something interesting. So initially it started off like that, where I would just promote local finds, local outfits. I'll get a scarf from, let's say, Gulf. I'll style it with a denim jeans and a top and I'll wear a scarf. And, I'll be like, okay, this is cool, So it used to be like that, and whenever I used to go out with my friends, they hated it, but I used to be like, please take a picture of me, because I used to dress up.
That person.
I was the person who dressed up only so I could take a picture for the blog. So because there was my chance to, if we're going out, I'd be like, okay, I'll dress up like this, so then I'll get a picture, take it, and then I'll write about it. So my only thing was that I just want a picture to be taken for the blog. And I would always tell them, I was like, take a picture for the blog. Don't take it for me.
So you made that clear.
I made that clear.
Oh, your name was the Misfit Fit.
Yeah.
This is that time?
This is that time. Yeah, because I started it when I was in A-levels. And I was I never felt like I could fit somewhere, So I always felt like a misfit.
That's what I was going to ask, the Misfit Fits. If you think about it, it's a great name.
Yeah.
That's something we all probably feel on some level.
Yeah.
But what was your misfit to the fit?
So the same thing, when you're in high school and you see you're in the elite defense circle and then you see people around you and then you're just you don't fit in. So, and at that age, you're also I want to fit in.
Yeah.
I want to do this and I want to do that. But then you also feel that's not my personality. I can't do it.
I want to be a little real about it.
Yeah.
I know that this is happening or that's
not
happening.
So I remember I was talking to my friend and I was telling her that, I'm so low and I'm going through this phase and, I had started the blog also and I was like, I want the name to be something that represents me. And then I just randomly came up with the word the misfit fit, and it just felt so perfect at that time.
But there's also realism to it.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that back then.
तो हर चीज इतनी overanalyze नहीं.
No, it was just what was coming from the heart. It was
kept going.
And I kept going, honestly, yeah. So I started the name with that, and then
You've become mashallah when it's about brands and blogging, right? And I was coming up with the third word, brilliance. I came up with. You really made it big. You really have, from not just an aesthetic perspective, and that's my opinion. I commercially see you doing very well. There are different branches, right? But during this whole journey, शुरू में जब कोई start करते हैं, being real is easy. But when you're growing and when you see success on a public front, it's easy to let the real filter not stand for it. Get a little unreachable, unrelatable. But Kal I saw you were talking about white hair.
yeah.
And it really hit a ring for me because I didn't have premature graying.
Yeah.
But once it started at the age of 24, it accelerated very fast. And I'm not happy about it, but shuru mein every 6 months I would get my roots dyed. Because there's a lot of camera stuff I do, so I thought ki nahi every 3 months. But then I saw yesterday you said nahi hai ye white ball, ab main style karungi, let's go on. So I said, Tooba can own it, then I don't need to worry about my roots. So, is it hard being real?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
I think it just comes with my personality. And I think it's actually if you're being real, your life is going to be very simple and easy. It's not hard because how much can you pretend? If you're just hiding from yourself and from the people, it's exhausting, it's tiring. And especially in today's day and age, where there's so much happening, like if you see beauty-wise, this Botox, this fillers, this eyelash extensions.
Limit to ab nahi hai.
There's no limit.
No.
So if you get into that, I mean, no judgments, no anything for whoever's doing it. But for yourself, like, being real is so much more easier than, just not being real.
I guess it's that initial decision to want to be real, which is hard.
Yeah.
But once you decide, it only gets easier.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this earlier. That's why I came up with the name Really Real with Alizeh. And I was like, kya karoon? And I was like, nahi, I want to call all these people for the world, we see your end journey, success.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there was a process from the beginning till the end that people don't know of.
Yeah,
And young boys, young girls want to become bloggers. They want to become influencers. वो देखते हैं इनकी ये brand collaboration हो रही है, collaborators.
So when I started blogging, I never took it as a profession. I always thought this is my passion and I like to, put my opinions forward, and I have this platform and I can do it through this platform.
Okay.
So the initial idea was that, and and when I was in high school, like I started when I was in A levels. At that time, there was no concept of brands giving you money to promote their products. I remember the first ever brand I got was when I was in IBA, and this local brand that's also very big right now, and they collaborated with me recently. They approached me.
Gandhi.
Yes. How do you know? Oh my God.
I don't know.
Oh my God. Yes. They approached.
Tooba Khan has a lot of collaboration. So I got the first one right.
And I think I did a post with them, and it was for 5,000. And I was like, wow. Like,
It is wow.
yeah, I was like, wow. Like, I can
How many
earn.
years after starting your first post did you get a paid?
So I started in Nixer, which was 2014.
Okay.
2014 or 2015. No, sorry, I graduated in 2015, right? So I started in 2013.
Okay.
And then I think in 2016, I might have. It took 3 years. It took 3 years, yes.
That's like over, 1,000 days
Yeah.
of posting with a
Yeah.
financial direct
Yeah.
return.
Yes. Was you
But you kept going.
I kept going because I had no idea I could earn anything from this. I thought this is just a good hobby and I'm getting to talk to people.
Yeah.
And, like we're just exchanging our opinions and it's great like that. And at that time, Instagram was very different from what it is today. There was no, it was more of picture and writing. And also then blog started. So I even made a blog on WordPress and I would write on it and then share it on Instagram. So it was like that. But then slowly it became about instant picture, live
Reels, editing.
Reels just came, I think, Abhi, but it was very different back then.
Was it easier back then?
It was, I never thought about it in that way. I think you just, what do you call it? What's that word?
I got Nirvana.
You just
Go with it.
yeah, you go with the flow, I think.
So when you were at IBA, the one thing I know about IBA students is most of them, very career driven. Out of their 4-year degree, third year, may Unilever, P&G, L'Oreal, placements, schemes, all of that. So if you were blogging and you didn't think you were going to go for it as a profession per se or do it full time, did you ever think I would have a corporate career?
No, so I was very clear even when I was in IBA that I wanted to do something in marketing. Not as per, let's say, corporate, but I was always I want to do something in magazines. I want to do something in the fashion world.
Media, fashion.
Even with my internships, I did an internship in Grazia. I would look for...
You were interning at Grazia, so I asked you about the spread also.
Okay, nice. So I was interning there and then, I'd find people who were related to these places and I'd just, drop in my CV or be I'm this person or, let's collaborate or whatever. So I always knew that I wanted to do something in that field. I never wanted to go into the corporate side. And even in IB, I remember when there were these drives happening.
Drives, yeah.
I was lost. I did not attend any. I did not give any single test because it just did not come within that, I want to do something like this. And even after I graduated, I luckily saw a post that Mashin had posted about jobs. And I was I'll give it a try. And I just sent in my resume and they saw my blog and everything and I got the job. And I started working at Mashin. So it was very organic how everything that I wanted, as a career was just coming to me. And I was very interested that, my Mashin job was so good and I learned so much from it. Because I'll say I was still an amateur with my blogging because what you see in the front is just pictures and videos, right? There's a lot that goes behind.
Back end pick.
Yeah, there's planning, the strategic content you have to make, the captions you need to write, how you need to approach people, how you need to talk to them professionally. I feel like Mashin taught me all of that and I learned it all there. How to organize your stuff. Now, I don't just shoot videos every single day. I'll plan my content. I'll be okay, today I'll shoot let's say 3 videos. So, उन 3 videos से पहले I'll have the content ready in my document. I'll write everything down so that on that day, I don't have to remember. I'll do the thinking pehle, ताकि when it's time to just come in front of the camera, because sometimes you forget, you freeze, and then
happens and sometimes you really एक बात को लंबा कर करके and you keep shooting and you get exhausted.
So you need to have your script ready. You need to know your pointer so that when you're in front of the camera, you know what to say, how to say it. So these are some of the things that I learned from my first job and I'm so grateful because even when you're starting something of your own, to anyone watching this, I would like to say that it's so important to get that professional experience from some place because it really teaches you, it grooms you. Writing professional emails, they're so important. The way you conduct yourself in front of people, the way you talk, they'll take you seriously. They'll take your work seriously. With money negotiations, it's so important.
You can't be taken for a ride.
You cannot be taken for a ride, and you need to be able to tell the person that, excuse me, I'm here for serious business.
And I know the metrics and the criteria.
Definitely.
Because a lot of people who will be watching this are aspiring bloggers, right? Who really want to make it big and maybe they want things too soon. And they don't realize A, it takes time, and
A lot of
B,
time.
you need professional short-term experience.
Definitely.
Not full time.
Definitely.
But see, ऐसे नहीं कि one day you just start to blog and you'll see success. Blogging tips that's actually one of the things I wanted to get into with you. That what do you see commonly new bloggers do wrong?
Do wrong.
Where you look at them, you're like, if only they didn't do that, things would have been better.
I think that a lot of people run after trending stuff.
Okay.
You know, like now I see something is trending, they'll do that. Achha, I've never done anything that's trending. Like, you know, if there's a reel that's trending and you replicate that, a lot of people do that. So I feel like a lot of young bloggers have started doing that. And you cannot survive on trending material. You need to find a niche for yourself. You need to find your personality. You need to own it and you need to come out. Because when someone's going to follow you, they're not following you for the random content.
Or for the reels they're
Or
seeing
the
everywhere.
reels.
anyway.
And even if they are, the connection is not there, right? If you want to make that connection with them, you really need to show them the real you. So, and if that will resonate with an audience, they will connect with you. So that's the same case with me. Like, I don't have a huge following. You know, there are a lot of bloggers which have a huge following. I don't. A, because I never marketed my blog like that and I never sponsored it. And B, I'm very comfortable in having my niche. I know this is my niche and these are the people that can connect with me on a mental level. They will understand me and I'm very happy, you know, and a lot of people say that we get so much negative and hateful comments and I'm just like, wow, I never got any, you know.
That was one of the few things I wanted to ask you. DMs with negativity, hate messages.
Not at all. Not at all. Because I feel like my blog is such that it's only surrounded by a certain niche. People like me. Girls like me.
I think one thing why you're likable is because there's this contagious sense of self-awareness and self-acceptance and self-respect. All three things that I think all of us are trying to be more of, but it's not easy. If we know who we are and we like us for who we are today, not perfect, but the level of growth we're at, that's fine for today.
Yeah.
That's really infectious. And when you look at other people managing to do that, then you don't just want to look at them. You want to get to know them. Inspired hote.
Because I'm the viewer that who would get inspired by a person that's super real. And you can easily distinguish on social media between two people, one who's being authentically real and one who's just pretending.
To be real is real.
Yeah.
Social media can be vicious sometimes. Everything's out there. When good is good, it's great. But when something slips up, it's all out there. And recently we've been seeing in the fashion and media world, a lot has been happening. With, let's say, a couple of days back, we saw that a certain, and I won't be taking names, but generally we saw that someone resorted to violence just because someone didn't hold someone's something.
Yeah.
Some people would post in their support, some people stay silent. But I just want to know, as Tooba Khan, the blogger, when you see things like this happening, what do you think? Social media mein, blogging mein, fashion mein, media mein, what's going on?
So I can only speak for blogging, not the fashion industry, because I'm not aware of them. There's a big difference between, you know, like.
But blogging mein jab is tarah ka koi crisis hota hai.
Yeah, so definitely.
And need to call out. So what do you think?
So, see, it's a very tricky situation. You need to know both the sides. But if it's someone that I personally know and I know the personal story, I would speak up about
You would.
it. I would.
With your name, you would.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you need to show support. You know, you can't just be showing support for the sake of getting likes and followers. And, you know,
Or जो trending hashtag होते हैं उन पे कर देते हैं, but people you know who you need to stand up for, then you should stand up for them.
Yeah, definitely. You need to stand. If you know something wrong is happening with someone who you know, then you should. And even if you don't know someone, but you know for a fact that something wrong is happening with them and it's not fair, so then definitely you need to raise your voice. If you have the platform, then you should. You know, it just becomes your responsibility.
That's the word that was in my mind. That with a lot of, with the platform comes responsibility.
Yeah, definitely.
And we need to see it like that.
Definitely, we do.
Our words, our opinions.
Yeah, definitely.
Very interesting. Tooba, tell me, you're doing a lot of different things, right? You're doing styling, you're doing blogging, you're doing interiors, fashion is a lot. And I'm a big fan of each of those.
Right.
And I love how the videos you do is informational, where you got something from, and interiors may styling, colors, textures. How did you study all of these things?
I actually did not study.
How do you know these things?
So I
Kind of asking all the students for you.
I have realized now,
Yes.
after getting married, that I'm a very creative person. And my husband really says that to me, that you're a very creative person.
That you
because
are.
he's not. So he's like, this comes within you, and some people don't have it.
Innately aata hai.
Yeah.
Your aesthetic, I
Yeah.
don't think, of course, I'm sure you do your homework, you do your prepper, but some people are just creative, the way you put things together.
Yeah.
Even this look, guys, I'm a big fan. And, do tell us how you came up with this look. Did you think about it? Did you plan it?
No, I actually just yesterday I planned it because this came to me yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And I
Who's
just
this by?
It's by Hardgar. It's a local Instagram page, local Instagram shop. They do online stuff.
And the blouse also they did?
Yeah, the blouse they did. They stitched the sari, and it was so stunning. I wore it, and I was like, wow, like
So weather appropriate.
it's so weather appropriate. And I also want to experiment with my style, and I want to be the person that you can just casually walk in wearing a sari, and
I know Myra Khan is big on
yeah,
this.
she's
And I
very
love
big
it.
on this. Yes,
And
definitely.
even the earrings, this old school charm.
Yeah.
It's lovely. So tell me, if someone they think they're creative and they want to learn more about interiors and furniture, all of that, how did you learn all these things? Talk about textures and color schemes.
So I Google a lot.
Okay.
So let's say that, for example, in interiors,
Yes.
we talk about rugs. We pick rugs. Now I know for a fact that what are the certain rugs I like.
Okay.
And the size and everything. What the size should be of a place and everything. But then I will go on Instagram and I will see people, because now interiors has become this new
It's a big thing.
It's a big thing.
Yeah.
And it recently started in Pakistan.
Yes.
It wasn't before.
Local options भी इतने अच्छे
लोकल
हैं।
ऑप्शंस भी बहुत अच्छा आ गए और लोगों को अवेयरनेस आ गई है और वो भी करना चाहते हैं. But then I would also see when people are styling their spaces, they're not buying the correct thing for their space. So there was always an itch where I'd be like, okay, but this is wrong. You shouldn't do this. Because so much is trending that you're like,
Everyone's doing everything.
yeah, if a white rug is in, then everyone wants a white rug. But that's not necessary. You need to find the right vibe for your space, what you like, and then you need to go about with that. So that's how I learn, and then that's what I incorporate in my videos. So that's how then I'm just like, how should I tell them to do this? I'm like, I can make a video. And I can be like, there's so many different kinds of style. There's not just one style. There's like get over white or grey rugs. They're Persians, they're these kalams, they're Moroccan rugs, they're these geometric rugs. Now, if you put a geometric rug in the lounge, it's not going to look nice if you have a very vintage kind of sofas, right? It's not going to mix well. So you need to think along those lines. So that's how then I plan my content when I'm just scrolling and I see, okay, this is a mistake someone is making or that's a mistake someone is making. So I just incorporate that into my content so then I can just share more information.
So to do interiors, you don't need to study per se academically, but you can do online learning for
You
it.
can definitely, if you have the interest. You need to have an eye for it, and also you need to have that interest to be able to learn it online. Because that's what I did. Like when I bought the first rug for my house, I made a mistake. I got a small size rug, and then I studied. I was like, okay, this is if I would have gotten a bigger one, it would have made a bigger impact into my space. It would have looked more cohesive. So then the internet taught me that. So whenever I now make my videos, I'm always like, get a bigger rug so that your furniture, the rug can hold your furniture. It shouldn't be small. So the internet taught me a lot.
Even I got married just under a couple of years back.
Yeah.
So pehle to interiors we don't have an active role. Things are what they are, but when you set your space up, you get the opportunity and
do it.
You learn. And I didn't know that there was so much out there, science and art. But there really is
There
many
really
different
is.
options, and then
A
everything
lot.
comes in together.
Everything comes in together. Like when I started, I'm saying a lot of people in Pakistan, you see, we'll have the curtains hanging जहाँ पे रेलिंग होती है, right? We don't go from the ceiling. Yeah.
Ceiling to floor है ही नहीं. और कितना बड़ा impact करता है.
A major impact. So when my mom was getting her house renovated, I was like, we have to do the ceiling, from the ceiling. And then when we did it, we were like, wow, this looks amazing.
Yeah.
You know, so then the entire house, the curtains that we had to get done, we were like, it has to be from the ceiling. And then when I started putting it up on the vlog, then other people were like, oh wow, this looks great. Like, we'll also do this.
बहुत regal look आती है ना.
बहुत ज़्यादा.
Into the world में इतना common नहीं है.
हमारे पास बिल्कुल भी
नहीं.
क्योंकि AC लगा होता है.
Square
अब AC लगा होता है तो अब उसको निकालो, फिर उसका अलग खर्चा.
और यूनिट भी बढ़ा हुआ है काफी.
Yes.
किसी का.
Yes.
It is that. Tell me, what does a day in your life look like?
Okay, so if I have, so even till now, even though now I have, mashallah, a lot of brands on board and, you know, everything, but I still take it as a hobby. I don't take it like, oh, bas mujhe kaam karna hai, because I feel like, you know, जितना मैं आराम से करूँगी या जितना भी आ रहा है, you know, it's good enough as long as I'm happy doing it, because I don't want to make my work. I want to make it like I want to still keep it my passion. So if I have a lot of shoots to do that I have to do myself, because I'm a one-man army, I don't have a team.
You don't?
I don't. I do
You're shooting and editing yourself?
Yes.
And speaking to brands?
Everything, from communication to shooting to making the strategy, content, every single thing I do it myself.
I'm pleasantly surprised, but I am surprised. That's cool.
Yeah. So let's say a brand approaches me. The first thing I'll do is, you know, send them my media kit. I've made the media kit on Canva. If someone's interested in knowing, you make your media kit on Canva or on Doc. It's like a resume. You just write the numbers of your insights, basically. The brands you have collaborated with. Just write a 5-6 liner about yourself. Then write your services, your blog services. Now your blog services can be, let's say, stories, reels, post, give a retainer package to them. So any service that you think, you know, live shows, attending events, you know, all these things, you write it down. And if a brand approaches you, you're like, sure, I'll just send you my media kit. Feel free to message if, you know, you don't understand anything, and we can connect. So once you send them that, they'll get back to you if they're interested. And if it works out with them, then they'll definitely negotiate with you. So you need to have the skills to negotiate better. Achha, this also I learned, because initially I was very like, ticket.
Because how would, if someone, let's say, didn't have that national work experience, right? And someone contacted them, wo to pehle itne excited ho monetization.
Yeah.
And then how would they know the benchmark?
Yeah, so you need to have friends in the agencies, or, you know, somewhere in the media who can tell you that what's the rate going on, you know, what's happening, because you don't want someone to just get you for cheap, right? You don't want to be that person that, you know, mera to nuksan ho gaya, like mera fayda utha liya. You don't want to be that person. You want to be someone who's, you know, if you're doing good, you want to be paid well. So first thing is you need to know the rates, what is happening.
Be in tune with the market.
Be into the market, yeah. I did not know that initially, so I would just give my own according to my need, like my insights. I would see my insight, I would see my engagement rate, and whatever price seemed justifiable to me, I would just quote them that. Okay. Initially, you know, like I'm talking about 2 years back.
Okay.
And when they would come with the price, and I'd say, okay, chalo, theek hai, karo. Yeah, I was like, Kalo, let's do it. You know, I do like that. Now I have learned the importance of negotiation. So I do not let that conversation go. If there's something, if they agree on one number, I'll make sure that, you know, I give them a number that benefits me more also. Because obviously it's, you know,
it's all your effort.
It's all my effort. I'm putting in my time, my energy. This makeup goes into it, then the post-production, everything, like, you know.
The fact that if it'll be posted on your blog, you've built this up.
Yeah, definitely.
So all those hours, seconds, you know.
Definitely. So you do that, and then once it's decided, let's say they're like, okay, this is it's like, let's talk about bed sheets, you know, like it's a brand that who wants to do something regarding bed sheets. So then I give them ideas of what we can do. Like I'll give them 2 ideas. I don't want to give them more because they can use it later on. You know, all your creative thinking, you don't want to exhaust your creative thinking. You want to keep that for other brands also. So you have to play it very smart. You don't want to give everything out to the brands because a lot of times they don't want to think. They just want you to think. And even if you want to think, you don't want to give them everything, right? Because they can use it later on. So you give them 2 options. They can select.
And that's your creative property.
Yeah, that's my creative property. So they can select one option for themselves. And then we'll go about with that. And I always have a time of like, let's say 10 working days from when the product arrives. 10 working days. I make sure the weekends are off. I do not want to be working on the weekends. So I make sure that, you know, whenever I message them, I convey the message that 10 working days. So they know. And then I just deliver the content. The payment gets received. And it's a very seamless process. And then you also have brands who come on retainer basis. So let's say if someone wants to do like a long-term business with you, you can offer them 3 months. You can give them a bulk discount. You can offer them 6 months. You can offer them a bulk discount. So in this way, they are getting a discount, which they want. And you are getting, work for 3 months, which you know, because blogging is something that it's very like, it's not constant. It's always fluctuating. So a retainer helps you also because, okay, no matter what, I will be having income flowing for 3 months if the brand comes on a retainer. So then it helps both.
There's a lot of business acumen one needs to do well in this.
Yes.
And
you learn it with time. Like, I did not know this. I learned it with time. And I still feel like I don't have the business side, like the business end to it. I am just a creative person because my husband keeps saying that you can do so much. You can do so much. Why don't you build a team? Why don't you do this?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, stick it slowly.
You have to be in tune with what makes you happy, the pace of it, the scale of it.
Yeah.
If you're happy, then the best content flows out.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's really good. So when you got married, how did work change?
Initially, I moved to Lahore after I got married. And so basically, I work from home, right? Like, my studio is my room, my home, everything is there. So when I was working before marriage, my entire family, like my mom and my parents knew that what I'm doing. So even if I'm dressing up and shooting a video, it's okay for them.
Yeah.
Because they know I'm working, right? But if you're married and then you start living with your in-laws, it's like they think I'm like a fool that I'm getting ready. And what am I doing?
And then no one. So they'll think any normal bit of a fool.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously your in-laws, they don't know because blogging is so new.
Anyways, even if you're not a blogger, any 2 new people would take time
to know that. Exactly.
Even if you're like doing normal things like waking up, sleeping, everyone's pattern is different.
Yeah.
So you would wake up and just get
ready to shoot. And then, it was initially very hard for me to continue because I was like, how am I supposed to do this? Like, I need space. I need to go out of the room if I'm shooting, if I want to go in the garden, but I need to sneak out because I don't want them to see me already. So it used to be horrible, and then COVID happened. So, it took a while for me to adjust to the new situation.
It's a adjustment.
Yeah. And that was one of the reasons I actually did not make a lot of content during COVID because people made a lot of content and,
a lot of people started in COVID.
A lot of people started and, their blogs really picked up.
Yeah.
Because everyone was at home. Everyone was watching Instagram. And I couldn't do it at that time because I was in a new phase. I was adjusting. Yeah. And I just couldn't,
moved cities. I hadn't. So you did just move homes.
Yeah, I had moved cities and it took me a while to adjust. It took me I think 6-7 months to adjust. It was not easy for me to just
do it.
How long have you been married for? It's been 3.5 years now. Yeah.
Okay.
But now everyone, like my mother-in-law knows if I'm
She's probably your biggest fan.
yeah, and like I get ready and I'm just roaming around the house and she's like, "Are you going?" I'm like, "No, I'm shooting." So it's like that. I'm very comfortable now. Everyone knows in my family, like in my in-laws, what I do, how I do it, and like my sister-in-laws, they all follow me. They love my blog, so it's super chill. Because initially, you also think that what will they think and all that.
I think it's coming from a good place where you care about what they think because you want to adjust, you want to be accepted, you want to be part of their family.
Yeah.
And sometimes we want to be part of
And you don't want
family.
to weird them out. Like, you don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. also.
Yeah.
So you want to respect their privacy.
It's
you want to
a place
respect
of
your
love and respect, and you want them, and sometimes you want to be yourself, but you don't want to ekdam se be yourself.
Yeah.
To not overwhelm them.
Yes, definitely. And also not yourself.
Yeah.
So it takes time. But yeah, so I did not make much content during COVID. But then I slowly got into it because I loved doing what I did.
Because it was your passion.
Yeah, definitely.
It's sweet. And then you started different things, right?
Yeah.
Interior. How long has it been that you branched out in interiors on your page?
I think it's been 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
So from all of this, by the way, I'm still not over the love. Waking up, getting ready, and now you're more adjusted and all of that. In this whole journey to the point where Tooba was in A-levels and she was like, I'm going out today, this is my outfit.
Yeah.
To where you are today, what's been the most meaningful moment or something you're most proud of? It could be an achievement also.
Just being very authentic and real on my blog, on my page. I think, I never there's so much happening in this society and there's so much happening around you where you can easily get inspired and you can easily shift tracks. You can easily become a person that you're not. But I try to just be who I am because I can't fake it for, how long can you fake it for, right? So just that, to just be real and be myself, that really resonates. And like yesterday only, this particular thing was bugging me so much.
About the nazar?
Yes!
Tell me.
And it's been bugging me so much. I randomly saw...
You're telling me nazar kabhi nahi lagti.
नहीं, नजर तो लगती है. नजर तो लगती है.
How do you deal? You punch a nice married life happily.
So I'm very conscious about what I put. I'm very conscious about. I will not share my family to an extent where I start feeling, anxious about it.
होता है लेकिन बहुत होता है. शायद भूल जाता है, फिर कुछ बुरा होता है. Like देखा यही हुआ. I knew नजर लगेगी.
हाँ, कभी कभार होता है. But my idea with this reel was, what I was trying to say is that, when you're just mindlessly scrolling through Instagram, and then, because this actually happened with me, I was just scrolling and then someone had posted, if you gave me nazar, I hope it comes back at you. And I was taken aback for a second. I was like, give you nazar? Why am I reading this thing, So when you're happily posting things on Instagram yourself, and if something goes wrong in your life, then it does, just pray. You don't necessarily have to come on Instagram again and then tell the people that I got the nazar and it's because of one of you and I hope it comes back well.
Hostile to just put it out there.
Yeah, it's
bad to the whole community.
For your community, right? You're just putting it out for your community to see. So that's something that really bugged me a lot. And I was like, should I talk about it? Should I not talk about it? Because I felt that it's important कि नहीं करो. Like, it's not nice to just put out that negative energy. So I was like, because there's so much cancel culture also. Like, people can just be like, oh, whatever she's saying is wrong.
Cancel culture too, never been more on the rise. When you say something, when you think up now, when I'm thinking also, I'm like, okay, thinking in cancel, as if that's visible to others.
Yeah, so I'm also, when I'm being extremely real. I'm also like, but what if, because as a human being, you can be wrong. You're not always right.
No.
There's always that learning graph, and I can be wrong also. So I was like, should I or should I not? But then
I think it was perceived very well, though.
it was.
I was feeling it yesterday.
Yes, it was. So I was glad. I was actually very happy. And I was like, okay, you know, I'm on the right track where my thinking, like a lot of people think like this, you know. So that made me really happy. And that actually encouraged me to make more content like this, because you can't, like, you know, whatever is, like, a lot of times what happens on social media, people try to just pick it up and they try to do the same thing and they don't realize if it's wrong or right. For example, beauty filters. You know, they're horrible. They're so bad. They're so bad for you psychologically. They're so bad for the young girls. Like, imagine, like, everyone has a phone. A 12-year-old has a phone, a 15-year-old has a phone, and a 18-year-old has a phone. And what's the influence you're giving them? You know, especially in today's day and age. Like, you have to be mindful so that you can teach them. So it's a responsibility. And if you see people just using filters left, right, and center, it bothers me a lot. And I've come on stories and I've actually talked about it. And I'm sure some people take it with a pinch of salt, but it is what it is. Like, you need to stop using
And we need
filters.
to have these difficult conversations.
Yeah.
Whether we think we are immune to it, we are not.
We're not.
None of us. And you know, that's another thing. I had so many questions for you. One of the main things was you started with the concept of no filter, but then for me, the brave thing is you stuck by it.
Yeah. And it's not easy for me to be very honest.
How
It's not.
easy it would be अगर consider नहीं किसी दिन किया ऐसे कर तो done.
हाँ.
But नहीं.
बहुत मुश्किल होता है. And a lot
You
of
see
times,
center people doing it.
yeah, you know, so it's very difficult. But then the good thing that came out of it is that I'm also learning, you know. My mind is also changing. I'm also telling myself that it's okay to not put a beauty filter.
And
So
it's okay to not look great all
all the time.
Fine.
Yeah, because you're not that. You know, there's so many people who have an issue where they'll go out, they'll look a certain way, but when they'll take a picture, they're like, oh, but I'm looking better in the picture. Obviously, you look better in the picture because there's so much happening in the picture. But this is your real self.
And कितना pressure हमने आप पे डाला है. If we get into this,
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. We're putting it on ourselves. So it's so important to, you know, have these conversations and just avoid these things. And I still see people doing it, like aimlessly, they're just doing it. And it's so important not to.
and have that voice against it.
Yeah, and have that voice
person
against it, yeah.
to bring it up. And it's really difficult because we, at least with the age group we are, we grew up without filters. As in, we knew there was a life before it.
Yeah.
But for the ones who are growing up, this is their only option.
Yes.
So what about their pores or their acne
Exactly.
or their British tone, which could be caramelly beautiful?
Exactly.
The one thing that's still in my mind is, you know, you are authentically yourself. You're comfortable in your own skin, and you've owned it from the beginning till now. But if given the chance, if you made the head of blogging and social media, what's the one thing that you would dramatically change on that day?
Are you talking in terms of brands? Like if I had to...
I would love it if you would talk about that. What would you make brands do differently if it was up?
If I were a brand and I had to approach bloggers,
Yeah.
you know, and change, one thing I wouldn't want to change is the mindset.
So yeah, let's say if you made the head of business of blogging from the business side, from the brand side, what would you do?
I would change the mindset, which is if there's certain bloggers / content creators / influencers that I would want to have on board with me. And I know I want to have them on board for a certain reason because, you know, there's a certain niche to everyone. Then I would also give them the creative freedom to be who they are and not restrict them.
With your brand guidelines.
With your brand guidelines. You know, a lot of times as brands, they also have to follow certain protocols.
Yes.
And that's okay. But they don't realize that they're limiting the creativity into such a small box that nothing great comes out of it. Nothing great comes out.
So creative autonomy थोड़ी ज़्यादा दें.
थोड़ी ज़्यादा दें. Because you know that every single content creator slash blogger slash influencer has a different niche, you know. Someone likes to put on informative videos. Someone would like to put on, you know, funny videos. You just want the message to get across. You just want your product to be promoted. So you need to give them the creative freedom to do it accordingly. You can't just, you know, put them in a box and be like, no, everyone needs to do it the same way. Because
then what makes them unique?
Then what makes them unique?
A lot of people would see someone's feed, someone's followers amount, right? And they'd be like, wow, what a life. So lucky. But what do they not know about what's going behind the scenes? The struggles.
I think 90%
Yeah.
of it no one knows. Your real life, 90% of it no one really knows.
It's not what
It's not what it is, you know. Let's say, for example, I'll give you a very, very realistic example. Imagine you see someone flying on and off countries quite often. You would be like, wow, she's so rich. Her husband is so rich. Like, you know, or wow, like she's so lucky. She can easily travel. Like,
especially nowadays,
you know.
Yeah.
But little do you know that maybe someone is working in the airline. You're getting the buddy tickets. You're getting free tickets. You know, you don't know. So instantly you think that, oh my God, wow. Like, you know, wow, iski to kitne maze hain. Ye kitna travel kar rahi hai.
चली जाएगी.
हाँ.
वो इतनी महंगाई में भी look at her.
Look at her. But little do you know that maybe there's like someone working in the airline and so the audience just perceives what they see. They don't know what's happening in reality. And no one wants to come and tell you also, like it's their private life, right? So a lot of times people think they know a lot about a person that's on social media, but they actually don't. It's all speculation. It's all theories made up in their minds. And they're like, oh, ye to aisi hi hogi. But it's not that. It's different.
But with you stuck to being authentic, being real. But uske, other than that, also putting yourself out there, have you ever put out a piece of content and later felt like, okay, I'm not comfortable with it anymore?
Yes, I think I have. Initially, like about my relationship and everything, if I would put something up, I'd feel very anxious about it. And then that made me realize that if I'm anxious about something, then why am I putting it up? Like, you know, privacy has become such a great privilege that you don't, now in today's world, you don't want to let it go. You want to like stick by it. You want to hold on to it. So for me, that's what I learned. Like, you know, the more you share, the more people will become curious to know more, you know, and then they will, and it's okay, and it's completely okay for them to know because you're putting it out there.
It's your consent.
It's your consent. And then when they ask you, that's when, and you don't want to answer them, that's when the anxiety and, you know, being anxious just comes in. So the best thing you can do for yourself is not let that part be out there, you know, keep a hold on it. So a lot of times we see that many people, you know, they put out everything, every single thing, their relationship, their families, every single thing. And something goes wrong, naturally people will ask you. And if you don't want to answer them, you're just stuck in a position,
in a very uncomfortable position.
Yes. So you have to be extremely conscious about what you're putting out. And I have become conscious. Like, you know, I share what I want to share because I don't want to give importance to something that I don't want people to talk about.
That's very
So I do that. Like, for example, even if I post about something with my husband, it's not going to be about like, oh, like, you know, how cute or how's this. It'll be about, okay, we're going out, but it's a certain topic that I'm talking about.
You guys are not the subject.
Yeah, something part of the subject. So naturally,
content for the other subject.
Yeah, so naturally the attention goes somewhere else.
Like not like, oh, we created you in pairs.
Yeah. Yeah. Not at all.
Say that.
Yeah.
Complete by other half.
Yeah. So not like that, because naturally then you're giving importance to that thing. So people will also, you know, give importance to that. But if you create something, if you want to show something, but naturally you don't want to be the subject, you just want to be a side part of it, then people will also be like, no, ye to side mein, hame to wo dekhna hai.
Like even yesterday, if you're going trying a new pizza place out and your husband's there, it was about the pizza place.
Yeah,
it was there.
Yeah, it's not about
you know, with Tooba's vlog. Tooba, This was your, I think, first podcast.
Yes.
How did you like it?
Loved it. Loved
Yeah.
talking to you. Loved it. I did not even know the cameras are here. I think I didn't even look at the camera.
I tried to stick to the questions, but I also tried to,
Yeah.
keep it a little conversation.
Yes.
There was something that came up. Really, really proud of you. Thank you so much. You took the time.
for having
We are still in process shooting, so I know when you agreed, you didn't really see the page
Yeah.
out there, but you agreed to come, and that means a lot to me.
No.
Any parting message to anyone watching and wants to be a successful, beautiful blogger like you?
Just be real, I'd feel, and also find your niche. There's so much happening on social media and there's so many different kinds of blogs that
Yeah.
you can just get confused, like how you want to start. Blogging is not about getting PRs or getting free gifts, because that's the notion that people have in their mind. Free cheezein milegi.
Huh.
It's like sometimes we'll just get bored of it. Like now I get called for salons message me and they're like, we want you to try our services, and they'll be like, we want you to make our stories and everything. And initially I'd do it, but then I realized why am I promoting them when I'm not getting anything?
I mean, you're the one just PR basically.
Yeah. I can just if I'm going for work, then getting the relaxation treatment is not a part of it, because I'm actually working when they think that I'm relaxing, but I'm not, because if you're getting your services, you need to record them. You need to make sure you're making aesthetic videos.
Switch off.
Nahi hota.
Massage पे भी you're like angle uska sahi hai, lighting
Yeah.
sahi hai.
So, and I can pay for it. So why just go for free for PR and, in that process also work when it shouldn't be a work. It should be a relaxation kind of a day for me. So now I just completely tell them that if it's work related, then there needs to be a budget for it. I mean, you can't expect me to work in exchange for relaxing treatments, because in reality, they're not relaxing treatments when I'm working. So, you can't be like, oh, gifts मिलेंगे, oh, free services मिलेंगे.
वो शुरू में एक
वो शुरू में excitement होती है, but फिर वो चली जाती है. But you need to stick to who you are, what you want to do, the message you want to give out on your blog, how you want to create content, because it just becomes a part of your personality. People know me because they know my blog. They know me through it, right? They'll have their opinions about me, but that's how they look at my blog, because everyone's going to look at it from a different eye. But that's me to them, right? And the more real and the more authentic you can be out there, that's just how it is. So it'll be just be authentic, be real, be consistent. Don't think that आज मैंने वीडियो बनाई है तो कल मेरे पास 2 brands तो आ जाएंगे. नहीं.
Consistency is not easy.
Consistency is not easy, because when you say be consistent, I'm sure a lot of people say that, but how I relate consistency is with your audience. You need to be consistent enough to build an audience that trusts you so much that they will look at your recommendations. They will blindly trust them. I get messages on my DMs where people are like, we love your finds. Your finds are so unique. And that makes me so happy. And I'm just like, wow, if I'm able to give them something unique and different, if they think I'm worthy enough for, they trust.
Trust is a big thing.
Big thing, huge trust.
Trust is not small.
Yeah.
For people who've never met you online.
And through my blogging experience and the years I've put into it, I've gained the trust of people. And now I'm so proud to say I have such a great community of such wonderful women out there. Sometimes I just see someone's going to like my picture, and you can see the notifications. So sometimes I'll go and see who this person is, and I'll be like, wow, this person is following me, great,
Feel proud of the
super proud.
You've done.
Super proud.
Was it overnight? It's 2013.
Yeah.
What? It's been 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
A decade.
It's been a long journey.
Doesn't come easy.
It doesn't. And you just need to be you need to trust the process, and you need to give in your 100%. And obviously, you only want to be a part of it if you truly, feel like it is your calling. So yeah, and it's great. I've built a community that's not only inside Pakistan, but also abroad. So last year I went to Qatar and I had people message me that we saw you at the mall. And I was like, oh my God. Like with a small community also, if there's someone out there who said that I saw you at the mall, or someone telling me, oh, I would love to take you out, or someone telling me, I want to meet you, you know, it's like huge. It's huge.
Tooba, bloggers are and influencers are the celebrities of today. And we know more about you guys than we knew of cinema celebrities in the 60s and 70s. So there is a lot of respect, love that, you know, you guys get. But then I think what we don't fully realize is the hard work that's going, because we see the perfect things and we're like, actually things are working out. But, you know, throughout today's episode, all the anecdotes, all the moments you've shared, it's been really difficult. I guess that's why it's so valuable, that the tips we've shared, and I'm still trying to just recollect all the tips because I didn't think about these things. And there's a lot that's going in from the business standpoint.
Yeah.
I can't get over you running around.
Oh God.
But,
oh my God.
You know, and the best thing about for me for today's episode personally was, I don't even think when you came in, you knew fully that the name was going to be called Really Real. The podcast.
Yeah, I just found out.
But it just goes to show that it's so important when you're out in the digital world to just be who you are. And Tooba, thank you so much. I've had a really, really fun episode.
Same, likewise.
And
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I really had a good time. I loved your look. And any last few words you want to say?
Looking forward to the podcast. I think I'll be watching all the episodes coming out. And best of luck to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was really daunting to go ahead with this. We had so many technical glitches. It was so new for me because I've been doing college counseling, which is so different from this. And I think it was during this journey that I realized jo lagta hai wo hota nahi hai.
Yeah, definitely.
The, you know, variety of issues is so much more. But thank you so much. And I cannot wait for your community's feedback on what they thought about this.
For sure. Same.
Chalo. Thank you guys for watching. See you next episode. And really, really appreciate all the love. Thank you. Bye-bye.